Hey everybody, welcome back to our weekly, bi-weekly, all these interviews we've been doing that have turned out to be so interesting, and I find them really entertaining. And I think that the industry is really getting something out of it based on the feedback we're getting. Today I have with me Songe, and Songe is a really interesting piece that he has developed and is helpful for the barber industry. And it's really tailored to the barber industry. So I think it's something that's unique in how it handles both the business end of being a barber, but also has a lot of COVID applications to it. So hi, Songe, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. And just for reference, Songe is located in New York City. And I'm going to let him talk a little bit about what his company does and sort of how they got there.
Sure. So my company is Squire. For anybody that hasn't heard about Squire before, we're a business management software and payment software focused specifically on the barbershop industry. So we make features that allow barbershop owners and individual barbers to easily run their business, accept payments, manage their clients, pretty much do everything the modern barbershop needs to do to run a successful business.
And how long have you guys had this app out there?
Yeah, so we started in 2015. We launched our first version of the product right around 2016.
All right. So I'm guessing, I mean, I hate to say it this way, but I'm guessing the whole COVID thing didn't hurt your business model, because a lot of the things that your business model promotes are things that a lot of barbers are looking for now in a COVID environment, so to speak. So take us through some of the things on your app that you think are the most popular items, like when you talk to barbers who are using it, but also the things that are really COVID facing, that have really driven it home for the barbershop with COVID out there.
Yeah, so this whole pandemic, has been a real difficult time for us and particularly for our customers, and it's been very challenging, but there's also been a learning experience. So in March, when things first started shutting down, nobody knew what was going on. It was very scary. But we were hearing from a lot of our customers that they were being forced to shut down and had no way of generating income, to provide for their families. So we immediately at Squire started really focusing on how could we help support the barber community? How could we help not only support our customers, but just all barbers in general. So there's a few things that we did really early on. The first was we waived all of our subscription fees. So no shops using Squire would have to pay to use Squire. And we also made some features free as well, such as our, we call it Engage, but essentially it's the feature that allows barbershops to market to their customers on Squire, to send emails, text messages, push notifications. And we made that free as well to enable all of our customers to message their clients during this kind of really challenging and difficult time. Wow. So that was one of the first things that we did. And that was really designed on making sure that these barbers and barbershops didn't have any additional overhead because it was already, so tough. Yep. And another thing that we did, as I said, we were hearing that the main problem was people couldn't make money because the shops were closed, is that we launched a feature called online gift cards, which it enables shops while they were closed to sell gift cards online to their customers that then the customers would redeem once the shops were reopened, but the money for the gift cards, they would get immediately. So we had a lot of, shops and customers, actually selling tens of thousands of dollars in gift cards while they were shut down, which literally helped them, provide for their families, put food on the table.
Yeah, because most men budget for that haircut, every week, 2 weeks, or whenever they get their haircut. Yeah, so that's great.
They're budgeting for the haircut. And a lot of, we all know that barbershop customers and clients are some of the most loyal people in the world. They have a relationship with their barber that is kind of sacred. And they wanted to help. They would get the message not from Squire, but from their barbershop or barber saying, hey, this is the product we're offering. If you purchase now, it'll help us out. And they did it to support their barbers, even knowing they were paying for a service that they would not be able to actually get into the future.
Right. Because I did notice when I went on your website, one of the things that we've talked about, you and I have talked about in the past, but I also noticed is that you allow them, it's branded to their barbershop. It's not branded to Squire. It really is, to your point, the barber or the barbershop reaching out to their individual client, the person they have the relationship with, right?
Exactly. We try to keep Squire, in the background. We're not trying to push the Squire brand onto their clients. We're trying to give them the tools to market themselves and their barbershops and keep that relationship with their own clients.
And that's so important because to your point, people are very loyal to their barbers, and it's a two-way street. Barbers recognize that that's what puts food on their table. So I think that was really brilliant that you allowed them to market it on their own. So then when the stores, the barbershops start opening, I see that you guys put an overlay sort of maybe some things you already had on your app, but certainly became more important as states started making requirements about how a barbershop operated in a reopening environment. Tell me about some of those.
Yeah, so there was a mixture of some things we already had, and then some things were new that we built specifically to help shops reopen in this COVID, world. So, for example, one of the new things that we launched was a feature that we call digital waiting room, which essentially it allows the customer, because you know how it works. You make an appointment, you get in there. A lot of times the barber might still be cutting for a few minutes. You wait in the waiting room, and when they're done, that's when the chair's open. That's when you get your hair cut. But now a lot of states are doing away with waiting rooms altogether, and they're requiring customers to wait, in their car or in front of the shop or whatever. So the digital waiting room feature, it allows the barber to press a button, and then it sends a push notification or text message to the client. So they can wait in their car, they can wait, in front of the shop wherever they are. They get that message, then okay, now it's time to come in, and the chair is open and ready. It's already been disinfected. So that was something that we got feedback from our customers, and also we looked at the state guidelines really closely to see how could we use software and technology to make it a better experience for everyone involved. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. No, another thing we launched was we call the COVID waiver form, which is a pretty pretty obvious feature that just if the shop turns it on, then it requires the clients to certify that they don't have COVID, they don't have symptoms, they haven't traveled to anywhere that's a high COVID area, and it helps give the barbers and the barbershops a little comfort and peace of mind, because for everybody who books, they have to fill out that form, or else the barber will get a message that says, hey, this guy hasn't signed it yet, and they can require them to sign it before they actually provide the service.
So is that also a place that is there a place that can be tailored to the specific barbershop in maybe a specific state that sets expectations, so that the barbershop can say, these are the things I'm doing to make you safer, and here's what you need to do. For example, wear a mask. Is there a place in there where the barbershop can set that to allow someone to know that that's important? Would that be in that COVID waivering?
So in the COVID waiver form, just to make it kind of general, we use like the CDC language and kind of the standard that all the states are using. But the barbers can customize the messages they send to their clients, through the engage feature, communicating whatever particular steps they're taking, in their state and in their shop.
Because, to that point, I think that's fabulous, because one of the things I've been saying this whole time is it doesn't matter if your state lets you be open if someone doesn't feel safe coming in, right? The state can open up, but if I'm afraid, I'm still not going to come do it. And so being able to engage with your customers and say, here's what we're doing every day. Like these are the safety things we're doing for you. Please feel comfortable to come in, but here's what we expect from you, and I do think that sometimes, if I had an underlying condition I didn't want to share with anybody else, it would be important to me that you're making everybody else wear a mask. I'm planning to wear one, but it would be important to me that you would make other people wear one. So I think that engagement that is personalized, I think is really important. So you said earlier that you made this software so it would be user-friendly for everybody. And I want to ask you about, what about the barber that maybe isn't as comfortable with technology, the barbershop owner? How simple is this? I mean, is it simple for a 25-year-old and a little more of a challenge for a 65-year-old, or is it a pretty simple app, like everybody could do it?
I mean, we strive for simplicity. The best, in my opinion, the best products are the simplest and the easy to use. That's why everyone loves Apple. You can just pick it up and kind of figure it out. And that's what we aim for. And understanding that, I'm not an engineer or coder or very technical person. Before starting Squire, this is the first kind of thing in the tech space that I did. So like I look at everything from the perspective of layman, like, you know, what would the average guy, not a super technical person, be able to do and figure out. And that's what we try to create.
That's excellent. So what is your background? Like, how did you end up here in the barbershop space? Other than the fact that you probably go to a barber, what made you think this was a great idea in 2015?
Yeah, I mean, it did start out of my experience of having gone to the barber. Like a lot of people, I started going as a kid with my dad when I was around 6 or 7, you know, and then here was 2 decades later, and I was still, you know, constantly going to the barber shop every week, every couple of weeks, and the experience really hadn't changed. And that's what, you know, caused me and, you know, my co-founder, Dave, to really think that there was an opportunity here, because it was something that we loved so much. You know, the process of getting a haircut, you feel amazing afterwards.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, you know, I didn't have a lot of money growing up. When me and my dad would go get a haircut, you feel like $1 million. You feel like your best self. And that's really a universal experience. So it didn't make sense that software companies were really ignoring this industry and kind of overlooking it. Everybody was focused on salons and spas and nails and fitness and everything else, but barbershops are really an afterthought. And I think that kind of speaks, the reason is for a long time, there was this association of barbers being kind of like maybe less than or not really as much as professional. And I think those days are over. I mean, you know, barbers make 6 figures plus frequently, and you know, they do really well, and they're pillars of the community. And, you know, they're artists as well as professionals. So it just didn't make sense. And because of that, we decided to go head first into this and start trying to, you know, build a product for this industry.
You're really speaking to what I'm seeing out there when I go out. I speak to a lot of barber groups. And certainly during COVID, I was on a lot of barber calls where there would be, you know, large numbers of barbers on. And it's this sort of evolving culture that I see where, the new young barber really wants to, not that anybody doesn't want to be professional, but that is really important to them. To, you know, you said they're pillars of their community. You know, they recognize their role in being able to be, you know, a substantial leader. You know, I interviewed a barber who has a clinic in his barbershop where a nurse practitioner comes and can test men for the most common things that are underlying conditions that we don't know we have: diabetes, heart disease, those types of things, where a man can just go ask a question, you know, of a nurse practitioner without having to go, you know, men routinely aren't great about healthcare questions. They don't go to the doctor unless they got to be dying sick to go to the doctor. And so I think it's really innovative that you've really brought this professionalism. You've made it something that makes a barber proud, you know? And so I commend you on that. So all this said, what's your favorite feature of it? What do you think is the thing that most barbers say, this is why I have to have why I have to use this application?
It's a good question. So I never was a barber, but we did own and operate a barbershop for about a year or so after we came up with Squire. And, you know, it, if anything, gave me even more respect for the professionals, particularly for barbershop owners, because it was not easy. And, you know, we were doing pretty much everything but cutting hair. So sweeping the floor, front desk, managing the barbers, paying the barbers. And, you know, in terms of being a barbershop owner, for me during that time, some of the most difficult things were paying out the barbers every week, managing the inventory.
The app can do that?
Yeah, we do that. So we have a feature called One Touch Payout. Okay. All they have to do is turn it on, and it handles all of the payment to the barbers. It accounts for tips. It routes the tips daily, the tips that come from the card. It pays the barbers out if they're on a commission on a weekly basis. It just basically handles everything, so the owner can just sit back and not have to worry about it.
And one thing I also noticed about payment is contactless payment for the consumer.
Absolutely. So my favorite feature as a consumer is the contactless payment. It's being able to open the app or go on the website, book, pay, tip, everything. Don't have to think about it. Go in, get your haircut, which is the best part. As a consumer, the best part is getting your haircut. The worst part is digging in your pocket and then forking over the money. Yeah. But when the software does it for you, you don't even think about it, you know. Yeah. And it's very similar to that Uber experience when Uber first came out, where it's like you get in the taxi or the car and then you just get out. You're like, wow, that felt free. It wasn't
Yeah.
free. You paid for it. You probably paid more, but the experience was so great that you don't mind. And
Yeah.
that's what I've always loved about what we provide. Like the experience of just getting that haircut, you're done, you thank your barber, shake hands, and just walk right out. It's almost like magical. So it's
Yeah, I
really cool.
have the same experience. It's funny when you talked about the Uber thing. My analogy to your feeling great after a haircut is getting a pedicure. I do it once a month, but I have this moment every time I go in. I think, oh, do I have cash in my wallet? Because I always want to tip her in cash, and 9 times out of 10, the answer to that is no. I don't have any cash in my wallet.
Yeah.
And so I can tip her on my card, but boy, it would be so much easier if I could have done all of that in advance. You know, I think it's, to your point, it is a great consumer experience to be able to do that.
And the barbers that are really forward thinking realize that.
Yeah.
You know, like at the end of the day, they're service providers, and it's kind of on them to match where the consumers are, and that's where the consumers are going. It's undoubtable. Everybody knows that digital payments, you know, cashless payments, is particularly now with COVID, it's even more pronounced. And that's just where society is going. So as a barber or a shop owner, you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not giving your consumers the best experience. And particularly now, as much competition there is, you know, if somebody opens down the street and they have that cashless great experience and you don't, they have an advantage. And it's business. You know, this is capitalism. The money goes where the best experience is and where the best product is. So, you know, that's just something to keep in mind.
So I want to tell everybody, I'm going to give you a minute to close out if there's anything else you want to say, but I want to tell everybody who's watching this video, in our profile, we've put the contact information or their website so that you can go to their website, look at the product demo, but it is getsquire.com. So GETSQUIRE.com. So anything else you want to say before we wrap it up?
Yeah, so a few things that I don't think we've announced it yet publicly. So when COVID first hit in March, we decided to waive our subscriptions fees until September. And then we kind of looked at things in September and saw how difficult it still was. So we actually decided to waive them until 2021. Wow. We now, as a company, have decided that we're going to extend that. And the reason is our customers and the industry in general is still feeling the impact of this COVID pandemic. We are operational in the United States, UK, as well as Canada. We see the UK is already shutting down again for another month at least, complete shutdown of barbershops. So we think that unfortunately this is going to be a prolonged, ongoing thing with these shutdowns and this kind of uncertainty. So as a result, we're going to continue to waive our subscription fees at least until June 2021.
Wow.
And that is for all current customers as well as new customers.
So people can try it for free right now, basically.
People can get on, use it, you know, take advantage of our features and have run their business more efficiently, and they don't have to pay anything, you know, out of pocket for that.
Incredible.
So we're really excited about that. We think it's the right thing to do for the industry at this time. And even as shops are reopening, you know, it's a challenge. You know, people may not be getting haircuts as frequently. There's just a lot of uncertainty, and we want Squire to really be on the side of the community and our customers. So that's one major announcement. The second one is we recently launched a completely new business line that I think is pretty exciting, which is called Squire Supply. And this is really closing the loop on all the offerings that we provide and actually enabling barbers, shop owners and barbers to purchase their supplies that they need to run their business, as well as their retail supplies through Squire. And so we can actually, you know, you don't have to use whatever you in the system. You can purchase whatever your needs are, whether it's razor blades, alcohol spray, even some retail products, barbicide, most importantly, which is hard to get these days.
Yeah.
You can purchase it in Squire, and our prices are very competitive, and it's all streamlined. It gets shipped to you when you need it. You know, you don't have to think about it. And also PPE. So in this COVID environment, you know, we've got face masks, we've got alcohol spray, we've got everything that you need to run your shop effectively and safely. And we want to make it as easy as possible. So if you're a Squire customer, this is only for Squire customers though. So once you're a Squire customer, if you log into the system, you'll see a link for Squire Supply in the Commander. and just click that, and you can sign up, and we'll be happy to offer this to you.
Wow. Well, this has been so great. I think you guys have the right community approach, and for the barbering community, but also for the communities that barbers work in. And I think you understand the consumer, obviously, that you did it out of passion. And I think that, your passion for that barber experience really has come full circle in this product. So I thank you so much for your time today. And we will get this up and posted. So if people have questions, as usual, if you've never watched one of our interviews, if you have questions, you can ask them on whatever format you're watching this video, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, or on our website. And we'll make sure that if we don't have the right answer, we'll come to you and get the right answer. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.